Listen closely, because this is the part no man wants to hear, yet every man needs to. If a woman isn't interested in you right now, there's one brutal truth you must face. You will never make her miss you by giving her more of yourself. Not through texting, not through compliments, not through being the nice guy who's always available. In fact, every extra effort you make only pushes her further away. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're doing too much of the wrong thing. Picture this. You reply fast. You check her stories. You try to keep the conversation alive. You show her you care. But to her, you're just predictable energy in a world overflowing with male attention. Your presence feels guaranteed. Your attention feels cheap. Your availability feels expected. And here's the uncomfortable truth. A woman can't miss a man she never had the chance to lose. Right now, she doesn't feel your absence because she never felt your distance. She never had a moment where her mind wondered, why hasn't he texted? Where is he? Why does something feel different? Instead, she knows exactly what to expect. You've become routine, background noise, a constant she doesn't need to think about. But here's the twist, and it's where everything changes. Human desire is triggered not by presence, but by contrast. We ignore what's always there. We crave what suddenly shifts. We desire what becomes unfamiliar. The second you stop giving unlimited access to your time, energy, presence, her brain wakes up. It's not manipulation, it's psychology. When you pull back with purpose, not emotion, she feels a void she didn't expect, a silence she didn't choose, a missing piece she didn't notice until it was gone. That silence becomes a mirror. It forces her to see the difference between men who chase her and the one who quietly stepped into his own world without needing her approval. And that's when curiosity is born. That's when she starts checking your profile. That's when she replays old conversations. That's when she begins asking herself questions she never asked before. Not because you begged, not because you convinced her, but because you changed the emotional pattern. Your absence becomes louder than your presence ever was. And that's where everything begins. Here's what happens the moment you step out of her spotlight. Not with anger, not with drama, but with quiet confidence. At first, she won't notice. She'll assume you're still there, still waiting, still orbiting, still replying the moment she shows up. Because that's the version of you she got used to, the man always within reach. But a few days later, something subtle shifts. She checks her phone out of habit. Your name isn't there. No message, no reaction to her story, no little dopamine hit from your attention. It's a tiny disruption, but it lands. She brushes it off. I guess he's busy. But then the next day comes, still nothing, and the story she created in her mind starts to crack. That's when her thoughts start wandering. Did something happen? Is he talking to someone else? Why am I thinking about this? Why does his silence feel different? Notice something crucial. It's not your presence that creates attraction now. It's the mental space you left behind. Because the truth is simple. A woman doesn't miss a man. She misses the feeling he created. And when you remove that feeling, the brain starts searching for it again. Not because she suddenly fell in love, but because humans are wired to crave what breaks their expectations. Your silence becomes a question. Your distance becomes a mystery. And the man she once labeled as just a friend becomes a puzzle she suddenly wants to solve. But this only works if your silence has substance behind it. While she's wondering where you went, You're not sitting in your room overthinking. You're out there upgrading. You're posting pictures from the gym, not flexing, just improving. You're with friends, not trying to look crowded, just living. You're laughing, traveling, building, moving, not for her, for you. Because once a woman realizes you're not sitting around waiting for her, something inside her ego wakes up. Not in a toxic way, in a psychological way. She starts comparing you to the men who suffocate her with attention. You become rare in a world full of predictable. You become calm in a world full of needy. You become the one man who isn't chasing her, and that alone makes her want to know why. And while she's scrolling through your feed, replaying your absence, noticing your growth, you become the image she didn't expect to find in her head, the man who could walk away and somehow became even more attractive for doing it. That's when missing you stops being optional. It becomes automatic. Here's where things get interesting. Once your absence starts echoing louder than your presence ever did, her mind does something she didn't plan on. It begins replaying every interaction you two ever had. Not because she suddenly caught feelings, not because she regrets anything, but because the brain hates uncertainty. And right now, you are the uncertainty. She scrolls to your chat, rereading old messages, checking how the conversations used to feel. She notices how quickly you once replied. She remembers how available you always were. And suddenly she realizes that version of you is gone. And it bothers her more than she expected. She won't admit it, not even to herself, but something in her energy shifts. The man she placed in the safe zone isn't predictable anymore. He's slipping out of reach. That's when the first emotional cracks appear. She gets irritated, but doesn't know why. She thinks about texting you, but stops herself. She checks your story, then checks it again to see who else viewed it. She wonders who you're giving your attention to now. And here's the psychology she doesn't understand. Women don't miss you when you're giving. They miss you when you're no longer accessible. Because a woman can only evaluate your value in your absence, never in your presence. While she's stuck in her loop of curiosity, jealousy, and silent confusion, life keeps nudging her. She hears a song that reminds you of you. She passes a place you once mentioned. She scrolls past a meme you would have sent her. Her friend says something you once joked about. These little coincidences aren't coincidences. They're mental triggers, and every one of them pulls you back into her mind stronger than before. And the moment she notices her own thoughts drifting toward you, something even more powerful happens. She begins to question herself. Why do I care? Why am I thinking about him today? Why does his silence feel like distance, not disinterest? She won't text, not yet. Her pride won't let her. But she'll check. She'll watch. She'll wait for a sign, any sign, that you still think about her too. And when she doesn't get it, that's when missing you stops being a thought and becomes a feeling. Raw, unexpected, uncomfortable. The kind of feeling she can't shake off by watching TikToks or texting other men. Because you aren't competing for her attention anymore. You've become the attention. And she's starting to realize it. Here's where the shift becomes undeniable. At this stage, she's not just curious, she's conflicted. There's a part of her that wants to stay detached, the part that told herself she wasn't interested, that you were just a friend, that she had better options. But there's another part, the part she can't control, that's starting to feel the weight of your absence. And this is where the emotional tension inside her starts to build. Because suddenly, everything she once dismissed about you begins to look different. Your silence doesn't feel like peace anymore. It feels like distance. It feels like the door closing, slowly but firmly. And she can't shake off the feeling that she's losing access to something she never fully appreciated. That's when the comparison effect kicks in. She talks to other guys. She replies to messages. She entertains conversations. But none of it feels the same. Other men are predictable. Other men chase. Other men want her attention. But you've become the exception. And exceptions are addictive. Her brain starts analyzing everything you two ever shared, not logically, but emotionally. Why did you stop texting? Why aren't you watching her stories anymore? Why aren't you reacting to her selfies? Why does it feel like you've moved on? And the more she can't answer these questions, the more she feels them. Because the worst thing a woman can feel toward a man she once underestimated is this: I don't understand him anymore. Confusion builds attraction. Unpredictability builds desire. Ambiguity builds emotional tension. And right now, she's drowning in all three. Then comes the moment she never expected. She starts imagining you with someone else. She sees a girl in the background of your story. She notices a shadow of someone sitting across from you at dinner. She sees a woman's like on your post. She reads a comment from someone she doesn't know. And it hits her like a punch. Is he giving what he used to give me to someone else? That thought alone is enough to crack even the coldest female indifference. Because nothing makes a woman miss you harder than the fear, even the slight possibility, that she's being replaced. Now she's not just noticing your absence, she's competing with it. She's watching your life instead of living hers. She's checking your social media more than her own. She's wondering if she misjudged you, if she underestimated you, if she lost something she didn't realize she wanted. And all of this is happening silently, privately, in the background of her mind, exactly where real desire is born. She won't show it, she won't text, she won't break first. But she's thinking about you every time her phone lights up, hoping it's you, and hating herself for hoping. This is how missing begins. Quiet, slow, hidden beneath layers of pride. And it's only getting stronger from here. And then, something inside her snaps. Not loudly, not dramatically. Just a quiet, undeniable shift. The kind that happens when pride loses to emotion. She wakes up one morning, grabs her phone out of habit, and realizes something terrifying. Your name hasn't appeared in her notifications in days, maybe weeks. The silence that once felt normal suddenly feels personal, heavy, intentional. And that's when the fear sets in. Not fear of losing you, but fear that she already has. She starts replaying everything in her mind. The way you used to talk to her. The way you used to ask how her day was. The jokes only you two understood. The small details you remembered that nobody else ever noticed. She remembers how safe the conversation felt. How she never had to impress you or pretend. How she could be herself without filter. And she realizes something she didn't see before. She misses the version of herself she had when she was around you. That's the moment every woman falls. Not when she misses the man, but when she misses the way she felt because of him. Nothing hits harder. Now the tension becomes unbearable. She checks her phone too often. She starts opening your chat, then closing it, typing a message, deleting it, looking at your profile, then pretending she doesn't care. She sees your life moving forward without hesitation, without pause, without her fingerprints on it. And it destabilizes her, because for the first time she wonders, did he ever really need me? Women don't miss men who need them. They miss the men they needed to earn. And right now, you've become the man she has to earn back, and she has no idea how. That's when the jealousy hits. Not the fake kind she can hide behind sarcasm, the real kind, the kind she feels in her stomach. Who were you smiling at in that photo? Who were you with last night? Why do you look happier now than when she had access to you? Why does she feel like she's watching you become the man she should have paid attention to? She can't ask you. She can't confront you. She can't expose her ego. So she suffers in silence. And the more she tries to distract herself, the harder it hits. Until finally, she breaks. She sends the message she said she'd never send. Something small, something safe, something non-committal. Hey, how've you been? Or, you disappeared, Lowell. Or, that reminded me of you. But the meaning behind it is anything but casual. It's her admitting, I thought I didn't care, but I was wrong. I thought you'd always be there. You're not. I thought I could replace you. I can't. I thought I understood you. I didn't. I thought losing you wouldn't matter. It does. And here's the twist most men never see coming. She's not reaching out because she's suddenly interested. She's reaching out because she's afraid. Afraid that the door she walked away from is now closing without her. Afraid that you became the man she always wanted, just not for her. Afraid that she misjudged your worth. Afraid that she was wrong. And for a woman, realizing she was wrong about a man, that's the deepest cut of all.